Hello, everyone. Welcome to Distance Traveled. Here, we signify the lessons learned from the literal and metaphorical journeys of amazing individuals. This is your host, Smith Patel, coming to you with the executive producer, Ayman Yusuf. Today, we have with us someone very special. We have with us Dr. Ritu Mihani. Dr. Ritu is a young yet extremely accomplished research and development scientist currently working at Maine Molecular Quality Controls Incorporated in Portland, Maine. What makes it even more special is that she's from my hometown of Vadodara, India, y'all. So I'm very proud to have her and just talk to her. Thank you so much, Dr. Ritu, for joining us today to share your amazing story.
Thank
Ritu.
you. Thank you for the kind words and thank you for having me.
Yes, so how are you doing? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm doing good things and I hope Arkansas is good. Good memories in Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
So, I hope things are great at Arkansas. So, a little bit about me. I was born in India in a big city called Ahmedabad, but when I
Mm,
was little, me and my parents we all moved to a small city called Shirpur, which is somewhere in North Maharashtra near the border of Gujarat and Maharashtra. And since my parents were originally from Ahmedabad, they sent me to school. By school, I mean like undergrad in
okay, okay.
Anand in
Mm-hmm.
Vidyanagar. So I did my bachelor's in biotechnology from there, and then I moved to Baroda, which is where you're from, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
And then I did my master's from Baroda in medical biotechnology. And then I came to US as this starry-eyed kid full of
Wow.
dreams and hopes in this land of opportunities. And I've been here for the past 7 8 years now. I did my PhD from Arkansas, and then I moved to Maine for this job.
Wow, amazing. So, a little bit of questions on,
Mm-hmm.
your coming here. So
Yeah.
that's just scary because, you as you said, you came here and all of a sudden, like nothing like you came with your parents or anything. It's just all by yourself and studying what? Certain molecular biology, a PhD in that. That's not an easy thing to do. So what made you wanna, just get up and be like, yes, I'm gonna do this? What made you do that?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. So I didn't know that, you can come to US without scholarship or something. I was exposed to that information very, very late in my life. So I come from a small, small town. There was this only English medium school I went in this town, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where I studied. So life was very different than what it used to be. If you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally do. I can relate to
Yeah.
that.
And then during my bachelor's and during my master's especially, I got I got in touch with all these kids from big cities, and
Oh yeah,
they
yeah,
were like,
right. Rich kid.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So they were like, oh, you're bright and smart, and you can go to US and you won't need any sort of what um, I don't know, fees or something. It won't
Yeah,
be
yeah,
that
yeah. Money from your
expensive.
pocket. You won't have to pay from
Yeah,
pocket.
yeah. And then, coming from a middle class family, it was like I couldn't even muster the courage to ask my family to pay for my education at that point of time. Like that was out of the question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the same
So
in India. Like
yeah,
I
I
like
mean,
you're afraid asking questions. Like it's a lot of money.
yeah, it is a lot of money. Like, oh, yeah, it was a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
So I knew I wanted to be in science since I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and all this motivation I get from was my mother. Like it's still my mother. She had this dream that I should become a doctor. You
Oh,
know, being a brown
yes.
kid, you grow up
Oh,
in,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
So everybody has been there. You are either a doctor or an engineer. So
yes. Yep. Every brown kid you meet is either a doctor, engineer. Yep. That's okay though. We're
yeah.
doing good things.
So I fell into that trap, and I was like, okay, if not that doctor, this doctor would be okay. So
Oh wow.
PhD was the choice. It was a
All right.
natural progression after masters, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you found out that you could do scholarships, and
Yeah.
you make it sound so easy, but it's not because like for the people who don't know, you have to go through this all the exams, IELTS, TOEFL, and
Yeah.
GRE, and that's no joke, right? Because
That is no joke. Yeah, it took quite a while to prepare for that. And as I said, like, I come from a small town where English was literally my fifth language. It was although a English medium school, but you know what I mean, right? Like
yeah, right.
your friends speak in Hindi, like at home you speak a different language and
Yeah, we are juggling
yeah.
in three different languages, and that might sound like a crazy thing, but that's the norm.
Yeah. Yeah. So it
So,
was a ride. Like IELTS and TOEFL were still okay, but
mhm.
all these GRE words I had never heard of them.
Oh man.
I was yeah, that was like math was okay. Again, being a brown person, I don't know why we have this
It's just
arithmetic
inbuilt.
brain which works really good. So I was okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah, but the English part was a little hard, so I put in a lot of hours, and there were. And at that point of time when I was growing up, the internet was also not that rampant in India. So I
Yeah.
remember going to this internet cafe and paying like 40 rupees for an hour.
Wow. For the people who don't know, internet cafes are like places where there's just like computers that have access to internet. That's just amazing.
Yeah, and then even for the application process. So like everything is online in US, right? Right.
Hmm.
So I had to be at odd hours sending my applications online, printing them. Yeah, it was oh my god, I really forgot about that.
I know,
So
right? When you think about it, that's an 11-hour difference. So you have to get up or like stay up.
yeah. Yeah,
And
and
then
all
there's a
those
night.
Skype interviews you have with all professors because they want to make sure all the stipend which is going to that kid which is coming, they would be up for the job. So
Yeah, man.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was a
that's
grueling
the tough
process.
thing. You have to prove the people here
Yep.
that you are capable of doing it. You have to prove the admissions committee that you are capable of doing it. And then on top of that, GRE puts a number on you. Be like, yep, if you don't pass that number, you're not gonna make it. It's like a race.
Yeah, everything is a race though.
Oh yeah, that's true though. That's true. But it's okay. Look, it's a great thing that you made it now, and you made it into what though? Cell and molecular biology. Now, as I told you this before too, I could not even memorize the 20 amino acids, and I still have them in my room, in my bedroom, as like a poster. And they're just there for show. Like, oh, I feel smart. They're just there. Like, oh yes, I'm surrounded by amino acids. And you did a PhD in a whole topic that covers a whole lot more than just 20 amino acids. So, what made you want to do that? Like, oh my god.
It's a very fascinating topic. So it's all about, as you said, like macromolecules and how proteins are made and how building blocks of cells, like how you function at the molecular level. So it's very interesting. Like, I mean, it takes a person of like wild imagination. Just imagine your DNA interacting with the protein and like all these processes. You are this human body. I like you can walk anywhere. Your brain's just imagine you're sitting in a cafe. You know
Mm-hmm.
what to order. You know exactly what you like. You know
Mm-hmm.
how to reach for that cup you want. And
Mm-hmm.
imagine all the neurons, all the hormones, all the activities that is happening in your brain cells, and it's the message is traveling to your involuntary organs and voluntary organs, and you're functioning. Doesn't that like excite you just to know how these like how complex you are as a person? Like barring the emotions, that's another topic altogether, but just at the molecular level, how your body functions and how all these things happen and how you move and what you're made up of. So that is what compelled me, and that is what excites me the most about molecular biology. Like at the molecular level, just another example is you get sick and an antigen is introduced in your body. Your body automatically knows what to do. It's like, okay, we have a foreign object, we have to tackle this, and then you have this B cell, T cell fighting for you, and your body is this amazing amazing machine. I don't think I have seen a more I don't know, work of art in terms of machinery more than what our human body is. It's just amazing. It's just fascinating. So that is what excites me the most about molecular biology, I guess.
My goodness, Amen. I don't know about you, man, but I feel like a superstar the way she described the human body. Like, wow, there are people fighting for me. There are these cells, these cells fighting for me, protecting me, make sure that I do okay. People care about me. Wow.
Yeah, no, it's
Oh,
crazy because she breaks it down as if like it's just crazy how smooth she makes it sound.
I know, right?
And it's like, oh, it's simple. It's just antigens, and your body automatically knows how to do it. And I'm sitting here like, I mean, is it really that simple? Because I don't think it's that simple. It's just, yeah, no, it is crazy
Yeah,
how intricate
yeah,
that we are. Like
yeah.
how
Yeah.
wherever we came from as humans, whether because it be God or science or any of it, it's just crazy how our body, without having to tell it to do anything, just automatically does it. Because computers, we program it to do certain
Mm-hmm.
things. We tell it how to interact with certain devices, but like the human body itself is almost the ultimate computer. It just
Yeah.
knows passive. Like the way we breathe, we don't have to think about it. We just passively do it, which is crazy. It is crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and I love the way you described it, Ritu. Like, wow, like I've been in a cell and molecular biology class. It did not seem like a body, the work of art. Now I want to know more. So thank you for that. You really do have a
Of
great passion.
course, like I mean, it deducts us to a level of, this understandable object, which is a cell. Like, in order to understand complex process, you have to deduce, right? That's the principle of science, or that's the principle of solving any complex problem, that you have to deduct it to a level where that problem is approachable and solvable. That is science.
Yep.
So that's what I think. It's very very fascinating when you see the big picture after you understand what a cell does, and how molecular biology works. And then when you like take a step back, look at your body functioning, like tomorrow when you drive to your school or something, and just think about it, like how complex it is. Like, you're sitting silently, nicely listening to or jamming to your music in your car, but your body is working like round the clock.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know what I
Hmm.
mean? And how,
Yeah.
like, how, if you can just look inside and see how these complex processes work.
Oh man, this machine can never take over. Our body is beautiful. Work of art. I'm so excited about science now. You know what? Let's go, man. Oh my god. So, uh, coming back to your journey,
Hmm.
all the IELTS examination to get the visa processes, examination to get the admissions. What were some of the biggest hurdles? Now, looking back in hindsight, after being a research and development scientist, what hurdles did you personally face, and how did you overcome them? Biggest ones.
The biggest hurdle was just understanding the process. Like, someone who comes from this remote area or whatever, we don't understand it. Like, we have to take it step by step, and as I said, break it down into something I can comprehend. And then you start questioning, like, why are you doing this? Like, I'm happy here, this is my second home, but then my parents are in India, and I'm always worried that what if something happens to them, like it'll take me 16 hours, 30 hours to go back.
Hmm.
So you have that at the back of your head, maybe, that this might happen, and why am I doing this? So all of that was pretty hard, like all this coming to US and living this life, and driving your own car, working for a company, accomplishing, it's all good, but then you always question that why are you doing this,
Hmm.
if you know what
Hmm.
I mean. Like, in the
Yeah,
grand scheme of things, where does it fit?
exactly. It's a
So
big, big question that everyone does ask, and people might not realize that. But like for
yeah,
people
like,
who are immigrants,
mm-hmm, yeah.
what were you gonna
So the
say?
biggest hurdle for me was just to understand the process. Like, why are there so many steps if I want to go to a different country and just study?
Hmm.
Hmm.
So yeah.
I do agree with you there. There might be some processes or some instructions that just are too much. At the time, you feel like, oh my god, what? Why? Like, why am I being asked? What is my height? Then what does that have to do with anything? Like it's silly things like that. But it does get exhausting because one after the other and the other, and now I don't know about you, but like people have to apply to like 20 and 40 schools. Did you feel the same way? Did you have to do that?
Yeah. Yeah, that was there at that time too. Like, it's a complex process for every university. You have to write what a statement of purpose or
Mm-hmm.
SOP,
Mm-hmm.
an
Mm-hmm.
essay describing why you want to go to that university. Then you have to apply to different professors, research their website, see what they are working on, if their interests and your interests align in some way, because they are spending money on you. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
have to work with them, you have to know what they are working on. Because if you just go into a lab and work on something which doesn't excite you, and you are stuck in that lab for 4 or 5 years of your life, that's not going to be pleasant.
No.
So it was hard work, like researching different universities. So from US, like from India, all I knew about US was, New York and LA,
Same.
because that's what they show you, right?
Yeah,
I
right.
didn't,
That's what
yeah,
I knew.
yeah. And so I didn't even know that Arkansas was a state. I used to call it Arkansas.
Oh no, not
Yeah, oh my
Yeah,
God. Let me tell you,
no.
same
yeah,
thing.
Both of
Same
y'all?
thing. Yes, because that's how
yeah.
you,
Oh
because
no.
English is confusing, man. And I would
Here,
spell it or pronounce it the way it's spelled.
I
And
just wanna set the record straight. We came before Kansas, so
Uh-huh.
Kansas got it wrong. Kansas got it wrong. They should be called
oh.
Kansas. Arkansas was a state. Arkansas was a state. I think like 20 years before. So you cannot blame us. Okay, you
Oh my
cannot.
God! Wow, wow. Yeah, but yeah, like I went to the capital, state capital in Little Rock, and then I found out that Arkansas is a mixture of a French and a Native American word. Which,
Uh-huh.
like how am I supposed to know that, man? Like it means tsunami when you say it tsunami. Like there's no. And I remember in my first English class in United States, 10th grade. And like I was saying, people were asking, so how do you like it in Arkansas? And I'm like, yes, I love Arkansas. And people were like, whoa, bro, where are you from? That's not how you say it. It was a funny thing.
You
Yeah.
know when I found out, during my visa interview.
Oh man, how was that
Yeah.
story?
That's crazy.
So yeah, so I went to my visa interview after I got my I-20 and stuff, and then
Mm-hmm.
after I had my papers. So I went to the visa interview, and they asked general questions like why this university, and what's your purpose there, what are you going to do, how many years, etc., etc. And then after that he goes, so what's this place you're going to? And I'm like, this is University of Arkansas. And then he's like, I think it's called Arkansas.
Oh man.
And my heart just died. I was like, oh, I don't think I'm
Oh.
getting this visa.
Oh yeah, right. Like, oh my God, if I can't even say the name of the state I'm going to, he's probably gonna think like, oh no, I don't know anything. I shouldn't get.
Yeah.
Oh man, funny,
Uh,
funny stories though. Hey, but it's not our fault. It's just the way it's filed. I'm like, oh
Hmm.
my God. Uh,
no, then during the orientation at the university, they were like, okay, you cannot call it Arkansas, okay? It's Arkansas. They
okay.
literally taught us that.
Hmm.
Oh man.
Yeah, so
Funny, funny stuff.
yeah, that was
So,
fun.
there's a lot of laughter in this, but what I want to point out is you still stuck, writing essays, applying for not just essays and personal statements, but also researching all these professors and their labs because obviously you're spending 7 years of your life. You're gonna give
Mm-hmm.
time and money into this because if you give time, you give money. Like it's just the same thing, but so what made you not give up? Because I know, and so many students like me are out there who are just frustrated, like exhausted, exhausted. I undergraduate was very tough for me, and I only applied to 13 schools. That still like
Mm-hmm.
takes a lot out of you. How did you stay focused to the game, to the process? What made you not give up?
Um, Persistence. I think I get this from my mom and my dad. Like, the attributes of hard work and persistence. Like, you don't give up on things you really want, right?
Hmm.
I mean, if you give up, then like somewhere in your heart you know that I just don't want this enough. So I wanted it enough to be persistent, to have that in me, that if you fall fall back down because there were rejections. Like there were rejections, and it was pretty hard because I didn't understand that my scores were all right, my academic record was all right. I came from a good school in India, and I didn't understand like what did I do wrong. Like explain it to me. And sometimes more times than not there is no explanation when you get a rejection. So that failure was pretty tough, but you just don't give up. If you want something in your life, you just give it your 100%. Like you have to be committed and you have to keep your head in the game. Otherwise, there are so many people, right? Like there are so many well-educated students who are like 100 points ahead of me, or who are like always better than me. But then
Mm-hmm.
hard work is something which will take you places, I think.
Hmm.
I mean, that has been proven time and time over and over again. Like, I know this sounds like very cliche, but you just don't give up. Like, if you want something, you just keep working towards it.
Yeah, and thank you so much for that instance. But like I just for a little background, I want to tell people that the I want to point out something that you did not come from like a lower class university. You did your master's from the Maharaja Sayajirao University, and for the people
Mm-hmm.
who don't know, that's a like King's College equivalent. It's a really reputed college, and to get into that, that's just like cutthroat competition. That's like getting into some of the very prestigious colleges here, like a university or like that. And coming from there to get a failure like that, be like, what am I doing wrong? Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
the answer to your questions, and
Yeah.
you still
So for
kept
my
going.
program in like MSU, the
Hmm.
university I went to in India, there were 10 seats, and 10 seats in medical biotechnology, out
Wow.
of which 4 seats were reserved.
Yeah.
So we
Right.
had to fight for like 6 seats, and I don't
Hmm.
even remember how many students sat for that exam. And we
It's more
have
than 100,000.
probably like that, and we
Hmm.
had to. Uh, there was a written section, and then there was an oral section. We had a presentation of some sort, so that was tough. That
Yeah.
was
Right.
tough. Yeah,
And you did
I
it.
think the process in India makes you a tougher kid.
Exactly. They just make you go through so much rigorous processes.
Yeah,
Yep, I'm bulletproof now, man. No
yeah,
rejections. No rejections are gonna bring me down. No rejections whatsoever. And that is great. Like you kept through, You
yeah. I mean, there
instituted
are
and
so many smart and talented people. Not that, we don't have smart and talented people here, but there are
hmm.
less opportunities there. So you just have to
Exactly.
keep working hard, and, you don't
Exactly.
give up.
Exactly. And that's everywhere, I think. There's going
Yeah,
smarter, better, more handsome, more beautiful, intelligent than you. But that doesn't mean you stop, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's great. So while you were, going through this process, was it obvious, or did you stumble upon the answers in your journey? Like, some of the questions that, one thing that came up was, hey, there are no answers to certain questions. Was that obvious, or how did you stumble upon that?
Um, that's a very deep question, Smith. I
Yeah.
think life is a yeah, like hindsight is always 2020,
Hmm.
and I think I'm still discovering. Like life is full of surprises. So I mean,
Hey.
yeah, that's a very deep question. I don't think I'm old enough to answer that actually.
Yeah. For the audiences, she's not very old at all. I could not even like. I had to go through her. Like, I stumbled upon your LinkedIn profile, and I was like, wow, she has a PhD, master's, and a bachelor's. Oh my god, wow. Like not like that old at all. Like I felt like you were in undergrad when I saw your profile picture. Wow.
Well, okay, I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah. That's a good thing. That's definitely a good thing. Yes. I look like a 25-year-old, and I'm 19, which is not a good thing.
I don't even want to start. I don't even want to start on me. I look about 30 something.
Oh
So
my god, like me and Eamon are both losing our head hair, and which is just sad. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna go bald.
yeah, we got to move on from the topic. I don't want to. You're gonna make me depressed. I'm gonna start crying.
I'm sorry, man.
I'm gonna start crying on recording, and I don't want that out in the world.
Okay, no,
Move
no,
on.
no. Yes. All right. So, now let's talk about some funny questions. Too many deep questions, man. So
Yeah.
Ritu, what's your go-to order at your favorite restaurant?
Oh, so you can call like two of my best friends on that, and they can tell you I always order pad kimao.
What is that?
Drunken noodles. Yeah, drunken noodles are my go-to. I
Oh
love.
Oh, what
yes.
is that? I have never had that.
What?
Yeah.
Ritu, I have a question. I have a question.
Yeah,
So you obviously live in Maine.
yeah.
Do you eat any lobster at all?
No, my dear friend, I'm a vegetarian.
Ah,
That's
man,
the
What?
thing.
you're in like the
Oh,
best place to eat lobster. Ah, it sucks.
that's okay.
Ah.
Oh man.
Ah,
No, no,
well,
no.
if
Coming
it's
back to that question though.
Oh no, no,
yeah,
no. Let her answer. Let her answer.
Okay, yeah.
yeah, I've been, but there are good places here to eat. Like Portland has a pretty good food scene, so there are,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a lot of vegan and vegetarian population. It's full of
Mm-hmm.
hipsters.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's I have that thing going on for me here, so
Mm-hmm.
no complaints about that.
Fair
That's
enough. Fair
good.
enough.
Yeah.
Okay, but I still don't get what the drunken noodles are. I wanna like, are
What do
these
you
on
mean?
these noodles on alcohol? Like, do they?
Okay, let me look up the definition for you, and you can just talk about it, Ritu.
Yeah, they are flat rice noodles, I think,
Hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's a dish from Thai food.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And then yeah, it's just really good. It's tofu and there's broccoli.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Hmm. Nice.
It's
Nice.
like a chili paste and fish sauce, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's some good stuff. Anything chili is good,
I'll take you
man.
out. I'll take you out to Taste of Thai here, and you get
Oh
some drunken
yeah,
noodles.
it's I used to love that place.
Oh, it's
Oh,
so good. It's
It's
so
so
good.
good.
I get the pad Thai. It's so good.
That
oh
was my
man.
go-to before I discovered Pad Kimao.
Should I
Wow.
get pad kimao instead?
Yeah, you should try that.
Okay,
It's
okay,
Oh,
really
I'm
good.
gonna try that next
okay.
thing, and I go out, man. And for
We'll
the
go out soon. We'll go out soon.
exactly, exactly. So we all love pad thai. We have that in common.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
great, great. So
Yeah.
one of the silly questions is, what's your guilty pleasure besides the pad, the dish that I can't even pronounce?
Oh, a dish that you can't even pronounce.
Yeah, the one that we talked about, the drunk.
No, he's saying what's a guilty pleasure
Yeah,
other than the drunken noodles.
yeah,
Other
yeah.
than the drunken noodles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I like ramen noodles a lot.
Mm.
That's a
There's
college
this.
student, yeah. That's college student for you right there.
I love me some ramen, man.
Well, that one too. But then you guys know Mongolian hot pot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this place in New York or New Jersey. I don't remember where exactly that is. But then they have this Mongolian hot pot, and you order a veg broth or any kind of broth you want, and then
Mm-hmm.
you cook like that broth is on the table. It's like hot and boiling, and then you cook your vegetables in the broth and eat it like right hot, hot in front of like you take that broth from the pot. It's boiling hot. Cook your
Broth
Hmm.
vegetables
from
in
the
it, and
pot.
then eat it. Have you guys been
Nice.
been to a Mongolian hot pot yet?
I've never been. You
No,
know
I've
what?
not.
We have not been out. My goodness.
I think this is just convincing me and you, Smith, to just have this podcast and then just a vlog channel where we just vlog us eating.
Yeah,
I think that's the next step, right? This and
exactly.
then that.
Uh, yeah, I don't think Arkansas has a Mongolian hot pot. They used to
Ah,
have a Mongolian hot grill, like barbecue grill or something, but then
hmm.
it was called Who Hot Grill.
Cool Heart
Hmm.
Girl. Wow, that's a name. That's a
Yeah.
mouthful. Oh wow. So all right, in your short yet amazing journey of molecular and cell biology, do you have any embarrassing or funny tales that you know always look back on like, oh my god, I cannot believe that happened
Oh yeah,
from high
I
school
do.
or college?
I do. So believe it or not, I used to be scared of presentations. Like
Mm.
I used to be gutted when, speaking in front of an audience. And the first time I had a lab presentation, I was barely able to speak.
Ooh.
So yeah, that was pretty embarrassing. And then like as you work hard on it, you talk to different people and then you build confidence. The more work you do, the more you understand, and then the older you get, the better you get at talking to people.
Practice
So
does make perfect. And and our from our conversation, I can tell you were once afraid of talking in public. You are like such an organic talker. This is great.
Well, you develop, right? Like
Yeah.
you discover your weakness. I think that's one lesson I've learned. You were asking about the journey and the lessons, right? So you
Hmm.
keep evaluating yourself.
Okay.
Like I have my birthday coming up next week. I think
Oh
it's
my
next
God! Happy early
Friday
birthday.
or something. So every year I evaluate myself. Not since I was a kid or something, but then once you develop your brain and you start questioning what you're doing in your life, you evaluate and you have goals for your life.
Hmm.
So every year I evaluate and like I have things I have to keep working on because you have to realize that you are a work in progress. Nobody's
Hmm.
born perfect,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
everybody has their own obstacles or
Hmm.
hurdles to overcome.
Hmm. Hmm.
And with the you just have to keep working on yourself and be the try to become the best version of yourself. I think
All
that's my
right.
lesson.
Living life one on one by Dr. Ritu, Do not give up, man. Don't give up. And you're a work in progress, man. Practice
I
makes
sound
perfect.
so old.
No, you're not. You do not. And we need people like you. We need inspiration. We need this. That even though cell and molecular biology is hard, you stick to it. Now, I want to delve into the last topic that I want to
Hmm.
talk to you tonight about. So, what do you do? Like, tell us, what do you do at Maine Molecular Quality Controls? What's going on?
Yeah. Um, so are you guys familiar with this whole revolution of big data in medicine?
Oh my God, yes. Amazon's
Yeah.
getting into it. So is Apple. Everybody's trying to, use data to save lives. Yes.
Right, right. So before that, you have to sequence your genome, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so sequencing your genome means you precisely determine what is the order of your base, like what is the order of bases. Bases is something which makes up the DNA. So you have four bases A, G, D, C, which makes up your DNA sequence. So if you give me your sample, I can exactly determine what is your DNA sequence and if you will be privy to any diseases or whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
there are many molecular diagnostics companies there
Mm-hmm.
that are out there who are using this technology, this genome sequencing technology, in order to find if a particular patient has a mutation, and then if that mutation can be associated with a targeted therapy. By that I mean that if a patient goes to a clinician, they order a test, right?
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
test is from a blood sample, a swab, or whatever input sample that is. They
Okay.
isolate their DNA, the DNA is sequenced, and then from that sequence, they determine if a person has a mutation. That
Oh.
mutation can be linked to a drug of choice, and if that drug can be prescribed to that patient by that clinician. So that's something called molecular diagnostics, and many companies out there are working on that, and they have assays for that. So for that assay to work correctly, like for a clinical person to know, a clinical laboratory person, not a physician, but a
Sorry to
clinical
disturb you, but what's
laboratory.
an essay again? Just for people who might not know.
So an assay is a test. For example, so
So
have you
so
ever
like
had a blood test, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a sophisticated form of an experiment that I'll perform on your blood,
Okay. Okay. Got you.
something
Got
like
you.
that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So series of experiments to determine or to get to a particular expected result.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can simplify that.
No, no, no. I understand. I just wanted to make sure that, like, I understand somewhat what an essay is, but there might be people who are listening might not.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Anyway, sorry to
I
interrupt you. Yes.
no, no, it's fine, it's fine. Sometimes I get too excited when I talk about my work.
No, that's a good thing. You're in the right process then.
Yeah, so these all these companies have these assays, and these assays are prescribed to different patients, and these assays are conducted by clinical labs. So that clinical lab has to have a confidence, right? Like uh, a patient's life is in her hand. Like she is or he or she is the person to say that this report or this patient has this particular mutation, and then on the basis of that mutation somebody is going to be prescribed a drug.
Mm-hmm.
So that clinical laboratory person wants confidence that
Mm-hmm.
the assay or that whatever operation or whatever experiment has been done on that blood sample, that has been performed correctly,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that confidence comes from something called controls. So that's what we do. We make positive controls for that patient or for that mutation. So I'll
Ah.
supply, suppose you are working in a clinical lab and you're doing this experiment, whatever that experiment is. You
Mhm.
need something to compare to, that whatever I did, it's supposedly working correctly. um it's the results are as expected, like, and I'm not putting somebody's life in jeopardy.
Mhm.
So that's what we do. We make positive controls to be
Wow.
used with that assay to give that clinical laboratory that confidence. That's why the main molecular quality controls.
So, in simple words, you are a superwoman who saves lives of individuals. Wow, that's amazing.
I wouldn't put it like that, but I do my part
Yeah.
in making sure that, whatever results someone is getting, coming out of an assay, they are perfect, and um, nobody's getting a false positive, or a
Yeah.
false negative.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
for that I mean that, if somebody's is actually suffering from a disease, they are not being misdiagnosed that they do not have a disease, because in some cases that can be life threatening. Like the
Wow.
person who needs that drug wouldn't have that drug at that right time, so it's very critical.
Mhm. Yep. 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 That is very critical.
Yeah,
You don't want to have false anything, positive or negative, right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what are some of the common myths in your field? Because it is so complex that half
Hmm.
don't even know what's going on. For example, me, like I just now understand what a control is. Like after you told me, so like what
Right.
are the questions that people get? Like ask you, like, what are you doing? Some of the myths.
uh it's not about the myths, but it's more about educating the audience. I think this field is pretty new. Like molecular diagnostics is not new, clinical test is not new. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm sure you've had like a blood test in your
Yeah,
life. That is
yeah.
that is also a clinical lab test, right? But
Hmm.
this technology, which is called next gen sequencing, this ability of this technology we have of sequencing the human genome, and getting insights from that human genome, getting this information that, if your baby, if your unborn child, for example, if a woman is pregnant, I can take the like amniosis sample and then tell her that if the baby is going to be born with some kind of, life threatening disease or something. So just the power of that technology, just the ability, just the, I would say, the impact that technology is going to have in the next couple of years, I think that is understated right now because it's so new. So it's more about the education.
I
Like,
got you.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to like such some of these complex things, subjects,
Yeah,
and people might be
that's
afraid
the
to.
part I don't I mean, that's the thing I think is lacking in science, right? Like
Yeah,
general education by scientists
yeah,
for lay people. Like
yeah.
if,
Hmm.
like, I mean, I swear my mom and dad also don't know what I do. Like if I haven't had this conversation with them, that I, make them sit and understand that this is what I'm doing.
Hmm.
Wow.
So that's, I think that just that education of the common people is lacking.
Yeah, and hey, I'm sure with or without the knowledge of what you are doing, they are still very proud of you. I can guarantee that. I can guarantee that because that's just how parents work. But that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, they never tell it to my face, but I'm sure they,
Oh
brag
my
it
god,
somewhere.
yeah, they're probably bragging like, "Oh my god, do you know my daughter is a superwoman. You just saved a daughter's life." Like, have your daughter done that? Like I'm pretty sure that somewhere all these parents meet up and like just talk about their kids. Like, they just brag like, "Oh my god, did you know what my kid did?" Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that's just something I would do that. I'm just waiting. I'm gonna do that and embarrass my kids. Sometimes just do it in front of them. Oh my god.
Well, I think your kids are going to have too much pressure.
No, 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 not at all. So, uh, that is all I had for you today. Anything that I
Well,
should
that's
have
great.
asked or should been talked about that we didn't before we go offline?
You didn't ask me what was my favorite part about Arkansas.
Oh, wait, what is your favorite part about Arkansas? Please tell us.
The university. The grad walk, the senior walk.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty cool, and I just
Hmm.
loved it. I love the university, and I think Arkansas is a great community for someone who does. did not have any friends at that point of time, and I never felt like alone, or I never felt weird in Arkansas.
Yeah, people are so welcoming. People are so loving.
Yeah, yeah, and like in United States, like so I travel a lot in here after coming to Maine.
Hmm.
So people have this weird notion about Arkansas that it's like a remote area or something. Maybe I was living in a
Mm.
bubble with that university, but
No,
it
no,
was
no. I'm
really
with you on that
pleasant.
one. It's the most, yeah, because look, there's gonna be bads and goods everywhere you go, but
Right.
I have seen so much good than bad in Arkansas because this is the place that has made me who I am today.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I
you
also identify with that statement, right? I mean, Arkansas is like home. So when people ask me where I'm from, like if I don't say India, I say I'm from Arkansas.
exactly, man. Yeehaw! Like go Razorbacks, man.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
even though they're heartbreak hogs, but it's okay. That's
Oh
all
man.
right. Did you ever
This-
watch football over here, Ritu?
I did, but I still don't understand the game.
Ah man, neither do I. But I'm like over here cheering everyone when everyone else is cheering. I'm more into cricket to be honest.
I'm more into soccer, so soccer is
Oh,
my game. Yeah,
okay,
so
okay.
people don't run a lot in football, so I still am like, okay, you need to like run, okay?
Yeah, you got to be doing something. You can't just stand and
Yeah,
push each
like
other.
there is no adrenaline for me.
Yeah, like you give me like make me watch 45, 50-minute game and after that like only 2 to 3 seconds are good. No, not gonna work.
Yeah, so I'm still catching up on that.
No worries, no worries. Well, thank you so much, Ritu. It was lovely to have you on.
Thank
A
you.
lovely story, and I wish you all the very best for whatever you keep on doing, saving the world. Like we need people like you to keep doing what they do, so we can get inspired. Students like us, me and Eamon, even though we are getting bald, like it's really very important what you are doing. And thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you for inviting me, and it was a pleasure talking to you both.
No problem at all. All right then. Talk to you later. I'm
Yeah.
about to stop
Bye.
recording.
Thank you all so much for listening to Distance Travel by Smith Patel and Amy Yusuf. Check back next week for a new episode. We're going to be interviewing Dr. Kyle Quinn of the University of Arkansas Biomedical Engineering staff. Thank you all so much for the support. Until next time.